coaching pathways and breaking it down into two separate forks, let's call that. We have a technical way and a tactical way. All right? Now, tennis is an overlap between the two, all right? And we really have a third one, which is movement, all right? And then we have the fourth one, which is psychology, all right? Probably not going to get into the fourth one very often, unless you're really comfortable with the other three are going well. Mainly just from the point of view of the psychology is really, really individual based. Alright? So are they extroverted, introverted? Are they sort of ADHD running around like a crazy kid, or are they really calm? Do they need to be fired up a little bit more? Do you need to get them, jumping around a bit, or do you need to calm them down, or do they get distracted easily, or are they risk averse? That's a lot of problems that we have sometimes with our kids that we coach, is they're so risk averse that you teach them in a game, you're in a lesson with them and they're out here and they're swinging and you go, oh yeah, this is really good. And then you see them in a match and and you're like that looks nothing like the kid I coach. Like, what is going on? And that's because they're so risk averse, all right? They have a fear. They have a fear of losing, fear of failure, all right? And they're not willing to risk playing well, essentially, if they can just not lose, all right? And then there's the other kids who are just like, trying to slap a winner off of every second shot, and you're like, there's lines over there, maybe hit the ball in the court sometime, all right? So that's a really psychological part of things. So that takes a long time to sort of develop. You see it as you're coaching, as they're growing up, but kids do change sometimes in a way that is very much out of our control. And if you intervene almost too early, you don't let them naturally grow into who they're going to be.
Yeah.
So a really good example, Riley, is over the holidays we would have met Arch.
Yeah.
Right? So just tell me, in 2 sentences, what's Arch about? What do you think?
Arch, yeah, he's a hyper kid.
Yep.
Yep, definitely. Very loud. When he swings at the ball, he barely misses. He's extremely,
Okay, but just from a personality.
Yeah, personality. Yeah. Very.
Would you say he is naughty?
I'd say.
Disruptive?
Half. Yeah, just a little bit.
Angry?
No. Yeah, when he loses.
When he loses, yeah. All right. So, what's he now, about 11, 12?
Yeah.
So, go back 2 years, same persona type of things.
Yep.
Disruptive. And he was one of the naughtiest kids that we had.
Jeez.
So if we saw his name on a holiday clinic list, it was like, oh God, here we go. Archer's coming down.
Yeah.
But he's not like that anymore.
No.
He obviously might get upset at losing, but he's nice enough and he's doesn't really cause huge problems.
Mm-hmm.
But honestly, we used to have to be like, don't throw your racket, or you can't swipe at your racket at another kid when you're angry. Or
Yeah.
He was really work.
Oh yeah.
Right? And he's not hard working. So
That's right.
these kids will mature and evolve. So you don't want to make these huge interventions while they're still maturing. So that's why we're sort of going to leave psychology until later.
Mm.
And so if we work on the things that we're more qualified to work on, because I don't think we all have psychology degrees and everyone's different. But technique, we're good tennis players, we hopefully with training and stuff, we understand how technique works, we can teach them. All right? It's not opinion based too much, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
So we all get that a forehand has some sort of loop, circle, C shape, whatever description you want to use to it. That's it. So if you saw someone doing this, you would say, well, that's not right. Alright? But your opinion on someone's behaviour and personality, you can't really have a valid opinion on how someone behaves, if you know what I mean. So that's who they are. But you can certainly say, no, I don't want you trying to hit a forehand in that. That's just not a suitable performance. Does that make sense? So we can cover that. Tactics. Well, I really just want you hitting the ball higher over the net. Like you hit way too many balls in the net. We can see there's facts, there's heaps of balls in the net. Let's hit the ball higher over the net. Alright? Oh, we can see down there that they really don't like hitting backhands. Look at them, they're running around forehands all the time. They see if there's some balls in their backhand. Oh, they had a really weak serve. I would have liked you to be more aggressive on it. Like, it's a bit of opinion because you're saying what you think is happening, but there's a lot of facts you can sort of base it on. Right? Movement. Are you doing crossover steps? Are you running? Are you split stepping every time they hit the ball? Alright? Are you recovering back to the middle? Are you recovering off centre if you understand what off centre recovery is? Are you, way too many kids we see, or adults as well, they run to the ball, they hit a shot, and then they watch it.
Yeah.
And it goes in, they're like, oh, it's in. I better go and play more tennis. Versus obviously every single good player hits the shot, they assume it's in, and when it misses, they're back in the middle, oh, I missed. But they're here when it misses. They're not watching their shot. They're going, oh, did that go in? Right? So we can work in those three realms really pretty easily. The psychology is way, way harder, but I'm saying it's worthwhile knowing, and it's only when you think there's something in the psychology which is ruining the other three things, that's when you might have to get to them. Alright? So if your tactics and strategy are out because you're crying the entire time you're playing a match, it's like, oh, okay. So all this crying and fear and all that kind of stuff is stopping you being able to competently tell what is happening during the point. So that's when we're going, okay, now we've got to sort that out and work through that. That's it from our point of view. So we're working these two pathways, technical and tactical. Okay? So the way that we talk about it from a learning point of view is technical is what we call process learning. Alright? And tactical is results-based learning. Okay? They are both valid, and if you're going to be the best coach you can be, you need to do both. And this is the hardest thing from a coaching point of view, and I wish someone had told me this eons ago when I first started lessons. Alright? We are not coaching how we like to understand tennis. We are trying to coach in a way that they understand tennis. Alright? I am a process-based coach. That's how my brain functions. I want to teach technique all day long. Technique. My opinion, is that if you can execute the stroke properly, then you can put it into a game scenario and know how to make adjustments to it and all the rest of it. Alright? So, I get too enamoured in technique, my players suffer poor movement and not as good strategy because I spend way too much time with this. And it's hard for me to break that habit because that's the way my brain works. Alright? There are other coaches who go the other way. They're out there rallying with their players and they're talking about hit it high, hit it deep, and let's go cross court there. And they don't talk much about technique at all. Alright? Those players judge the ball better, move better in general because they're practicing all these variations, but their strokes break down when they need it. Alright? So there's no right or wrong way. Alright? And I'm not saying my way's better than anyone else's, and it's not for me to decide how you want to coach. But you're going to get some kids who are going to be super bored with standing there just hitting 400 forehands in a row while you say, just close that racket face a little bit more, turn that shoulder higher, oh, that's too low, too tucked in, further away. Like, they're going to get bored doing it. Alright? So you need to add a little bit more of the playing the game, think about, can we hit it down the line, cross court, pass the line, in that box, over this, all that kind of stuff, look at the results. Alright? But then, make sure that if you are going to go the other way, the results base, that you do at least identify where and when they break down, and if it's a technical thing, that you at least address it. Alright? So you can't just kind of go, hey, let's ignore technique, and the hope is that they'll just learn it over time. And they can and should, if you're really good at setting your result that you want, you can set a challenge that requires them to perform a technique. Hey. Well spotted. Okay, so a really good example of this is we had a coach come to Perth, very high, like national talent coach in Queensland, like head of performance coaching or whatever it was. So they had a girl who was top 5 in Australia for her age and all that kind of stuff, going really well. And they felt like her grip had gone too far around. Alright? And he went down the path of, okay, this is the grip, it's not going to be here anymore, it's going to be here. Alright? Put a big X on the racket, this is where I need you holding it exactly like this. And, she tried to do it for a month, didn't like it, was pretty vocal about it. But my other forehand's better and all this kind of stuff. And he was like, but it's not about now, it's about making you the best player in the future. And she's like, but it sucks and it's no good. And she would, train like this and play a match, and she'd get straight to other forehand and like this. Or if they were in a cross-court rally situation, she would hit one in the new grip, one in a hybrid grip, and by the third one, she's back into her old grip again.
Yeah.
And he said he pushed it for a month, and it actually got really tense. And he was sort of worried that she was going to spit the dummy, pull the pin, go, no, I'm not going to do this kind of thing. So he was like, okay, we need to do this a different way. So she was not willing to go the technical path. Right? So he went, okay, what I'm going to do is I'm only going to feed her balls lower than knee height. So, trying to get under those balls in that grip, really, really tough. You hit deep and all that really well. We think you don't have a very good short cross-court forehand. So, he said for 4 months, they did nothing but short angle cross-court forehands. Because with an extreme grip, to get around the ball, really difficult. Right? So he created a results-based, through feeding really low, because extreme grips, very good for high balls. That's why they exist. That's why a lot of girls in particular have more extreme grips than boys. Is once the ball gets higher, you have to have a lot of shoulder strength to hit the ball up here with any sort of semi-western sort of grip. So girls don't tend to have much shoulder strength as boys, and they don't tend to be as tall. Case in point. Alright, so you get under a ball here, if you shift your grip underneath, then you can hit this high ball. So high bouncing balls create extreme grips. So this is the whole thing, and it's a really important point. I don't think nearly any coach actually wants any of their players to use an extreme grip on a forehand. But the environment of all good kids, alright, we have a very simplistic timeline based on age of where a kid should be. Red ball, alright, 6 to 7 kind of thing. Orange ball, 8 to 10, green ball, 10 to 11, yellow ball, 12 plus. What does every talented, good, unbelievable kid do? They push up quicker. Alright? So your unbelievable 6-year-old is playing orange ball. Your unbelievable 8-year-old is playing green ball, and your unbelievable 9-year-old's already playing yellow. So a 9-year-old playing yellow, where the ball is bouncing this high, how else are they going to handle these balls? So no coach is out there going, hey, chuck that grip out on there, and let's frisbee that thing over here like this. But they can't help it, because the only way they can handle it is like that. And then annoyingly doubling down on it is that when 2 9-year-old talented kids play each other, they see the other kids this tall and they say, I'm going to try and bounce it higher. So then they start hitting topspin upwards, ball bounces and bounces higher. So that kid goes, well, I need to hit it higher. And then the kids end up having these 30-shot rallies with topspin and high bounce, but they're all under here hitting balls. So this extreme grip is not taught, it is based on the result. Alright? It is based on the tactic. I need to make a ball above shoulder height. That's the easiest way for me to handle. Alright? So that's why I said, so you can go down the technical path like I do, but the process part works. We see it, because we see the result in the kids that we see out there playing. They learn through what they've found by playing versus what their coaches coach said, this is the grip I want. And they all end up here. Right? Because that's their pathway that they want. What we want to do as coaches is manipulate that pathway ourselves so that that doesn't happen. Right? And that's sort of the challenge. All right?